You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Welcome to the Ville, where weather permitting, there will be college football tonight. Louisville for the ACC and FBS against Indiana State from the Missouri Valley and the FCS. Hi everyone, Jim Barber and the former Marshall great John Gregory. Last year, Indiana State did not win a football game. Just last Thursday, it won its first of this year. So, what a difference a year makes, huh?
Yeah, no question about it. One victory. That locker room after the game was so excited about that win. That will get their season jump-started.
Jaleel Kilpatrick is helping jump-start the offense for Indiana State. He's got a good package. He can run, he can also throw.
Yeah, he certainly can. There's not a quarterback on this roster that threw a pass last year for this Indiana State team. This guy comes out of Kilgore Community College in Texas, completed 73% of his passes there. He had a chance to work in this spring. He got more comfortable with the offense. Last week he rushed the ball 15 times. They'd like to see him throw it a little bit more today.
John, we are in the land of great quarterbacks. First, Teddy Bridgewater for Louisville, then Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson, and Jawan Pass, well, he's got great legacy to follow.
Yeah, he certainly does. Those are eye-popping numbers, and they're not asking him to be those guys. They're asking him to be Puma Pass himself. Last year he threw for 238 yards in 5 games. He had 252 yards against Alabama last week, including 2 touchdowns. Coach Bobby Petrino thinks with him in this lineup, he can go more old-school Bobby Petrino offense, get that run mixed in with this pass, and that's what he can help him with that run game tonight.
He is compared to Big Ben of the Steelers of the National Football League. Well, we mentioned weather, a lot of it in the area, but still many enthusiastic fans in the stadium. Indiana State and Louisville to kick it off momentarily. Here at Cardinal Stadium, lightning is in the area 15 miles away. If it gets within 8, the game will be suspended momentarily. Right now the temperature has dropped all the way from the high 80s yesterday to 68. More than a light rain right now. The wind has picked up from time to time. 80% chance of rain. Kurt Mallory is turning things around in Terre Haute, Indiana. The son of the legendary coach Bill Mallory led his team to a 49-0 win on opening week. And Bobby Petrino, well, they had the toughest of all openers. That was against Alabama. It was a good price for Louisville, picking up more than $1 million to play that game on ESPN. Still, Bobby's got a very talented young team, and he's been almost impossible to beat against non-conference teams here at home with a record of 13-2. So, John, here we go, and because of the rain, this crowd has been pretty wired, and that should make for a lot of enthusiasm tonight, and hopefully everybody will be safe.
Well, certainly cut down on the attendance numbers, but the people that are here are excited to be here, and I think this rain, as you said, have really inspired them a bit to get a little bit louder.
These are Laurel and Hardy fans, I would say. Newly renovated Cardinal Stadium to the tune of over $60 million. Creation of former AD Tom Jurich. And we'll take you inside some of the suites as we go along tonight. This is the home opener for the Cards. Couldn't have picked a worst weather night, but will play as long as lightning stays away. Doesn't matter how much rain descends upon the stadium. Jordan Travis deep for Louisville. Indiana State won the toss and defers. Jerry Nunez is set to kick off number 38 in the visiting white uniforms. And we're off. A short kick, which will bounce at the 10 and into the end zone for a touchback. Jawan Pass got his nickname Puma as a young guy, maybe from the Disney movie Lion King, or maybe just from some relatives who said he kind of looked and acted like a big cat, just roaming all over the place. Either way, he has been compared in size and strength to Ben Roethlisberger. In other words, hard to bring down.
Yeah, pretty good comparison there. His size, 6'4", 231 pounds, and they just want to try to keep these defenders off him, want to keep him healthy. He is a big weapon for this football team, and they're expecting huge things from him this year.
Indiana State with a 4-man rush. Brad Wilson, defensive coordinator for ISU, said they've got a mismatch of talent. That's what we have to contend with tonight. Let's talk about impact players tonight and some of the people, John, that we'll be focusing on as the game goes along.
Yeah, probably more so on a dry night, but Jalen Smith, Seth Dawkins, and Des Fitzpatrick, the wide receiver trio for this Cardinal offense, those three guys at any given time can get it done for you.
So look at Jalen Smith wearing number 9 as they flank 2 receivers out to the left. Pass on second down, snap fumbled, and off the play still a positive run, but good for just 3 as Colin Wilson, number 33, carries. And let's go back to the 3-headed monster for the Louisville Cardinals with some really rare talent at the wide receiver spots.
Yeah, you've got Smith, the senior there. Dawkins, he's the junior. Fitzpatrick, the young guy, is a sophomore. He could be the most dangerous guy out there, the guy that's really explosive for them.
Officially a pickup of 4. 3rd down. Pass with a look over the middle. Ball dropped. And so for Indiana State on its opening possession, 3 and out. Fitzpatrick having some trouble getting a handle on it, and I'm sure the weather has got something to do with that.
Well, absolutely. That's not a guy that's going to drop a whole lot of passes for you. That ball was really thrown right on the money. Not easy to throw strikes in this situation. You can see how that rain's coming down. As a receiver, you always ask receivers to catch the ball in your hands. On a night like this, you have to let it get to your body to do a better job of trying to cradle the football. But it's difficult either way.
That's Mason King, who punted 8 times against Alabama. 8 Hendricks and 4 Morgan are deep. And a nice Louisville roll will put the ball inside the 15-yard line. That was a punt of 56 with no return. Now time for Indiana State to go to work, putting 7 touchdowns on the board in its opening win, as there is a penalty flag on the play. But this is a dramatic step up in competition from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, no question about that. But, you know, they want to try to establish something offensively. They're going to do it on the ground. They've got some veterans up front. We'll see if they can establish a running game. Certainly you don't want to try to throw the ball in these type of conditions. The better running team.
After the play, there are 2 fouls. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 60. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team, number 5. Those penalties all set. Big first down.
That's our referee, Trey Blake. It's an ACC officiating crew tonight. Jalil Kilpatrick, redshirt junior from Detroit, Michigan. Only attempted 13 passes last week, completed 8 for 84 yards. Lost the ball. So we've seen this rain come into factor on both sides of the offense. Let's talk impact players as we now take a look at Indiana State on offense and Louisville on defense, John.
Yeah, for this Indiana State team, for them to have success, Jaquan Key's the running back. He's the leader in the backfield here. They get the ball in his hand. Led this team last year in rushing. On the defensive side, Tavarius Peterson, he's got to be the guy opposite John Grainard, the guy that's starting for them injured. He's going to have to be the guy that steps up, gets to the backfield.
After a loss of 7, a gain of 8. Up to the 15-yard line and a carry by Keys, who's from Hammond, Louisiana.
Keeping the ball on the ground. The team that has success early in this football game with this type of weather now, it could blow out of here on any given time, but if you can move the ball and move those chains on the ground, I think as an offensive coordinator, that's what you have to lean on right now.
On a 3rd and 9, they won't risk a pass here, and they try to run wide. Pick up strong yardage, but not enough as Keys is stopped well short of the first down marker. And it brings us to a 4th down, and now Indiana State will give up the ball. And moments ago, the public address announcer here at the stadium announced the lightning threat still several miles away before we suspend play.
Yeah, let's hope it continues to move in the opposite direction. But here's another scary situation. When you're back to punt, so many times you see wet conditions like this. As a punter, you have to be really careful to be able to handle this football.
Travis Reiner will get the snap back at the 5-yard line as Rajay Burns back to receive in good Louisville position. Line drive to Burns, 45. Makes a man miss. 40, 30, he can go. 20, 10, touchdown.
Watch this punt. It comes off the foot. It's a line drive. No time for the defense to get down the field. And because of that, blocks were set up. Once he got past that first defender, first and second line of defense, there was no catching him. Good blocking down the field as the punter trying to make a play. Not able to do that, but conditions forced that punt to be a line drive, and you just can't cover in that situation.
55-yard punt return for touchdown, John. Now the extra point for Blanton Creaky. Well, you mentioned in this atmosphere, a low line drive kick is the last thing you want on special teams. And Rajay Burns, well, he does the rest. 7-0 Louisville. John, you think they won the FCS championship, huh?
When you get that first victory, you deserve that celebration in the locker room.
Kurt Mallory and his Indiana State team. Because Lightning is getting closer to the area, folks, we are going to lock down our cameras by way of company policy. So you'll see, in terms of viewership, in terms of the camera shots you'll see tonight will be a bit limited while this Lightning continues to get closer to here, and that's for the safety certainly of our camera people. In the meantime, the game continues until it hits that 8-mile radius or less toward Cardinal Stadium, and so we will have football a little bit from the distance, but John, with his great analytical work, will keep us appraised of all developments down low.
Now, some things you just can't control, but we'll try to paint it, I guess, the best we can.
Yep. Indiana State back on offense, trailing after the 55-yard punt return for touchdown by Rajay Burns. Jalil Kilpatrick back to work, showing a lot of good growth as this underclassman starting at quarterback. Keys is going to be his principal runner tonight. He's got a few other people he can depend upon. And the carry there by Keys is good for 5. Both teams, John, are running back by committee, which means they haven't found their go-to guy yet.
No, that's correct. When you have 4 or 5 guys that'll touch it, but Jaquan Keys, he's going to be the lead guy. They just had the advantage last week to work in multiple running backs. There were 8 players that actually ran the football last week for Indiana State, but they would like to get it down to Jaquan Keys and maybe Titus McCoy as well.
On 2nd and 5. Zone reads ahead Kilpatrick. That line trying to push him across the marker, and I believe they may have been successful for a first down. We'll wait and see what the spot is. The remnants upon the stadium, the weather remnants, are courtesy Tropical Storm Gordon, and because of the fact that lightning has been threatening for a good part of today, we now have official word that there will be a delay. So Louisville's walking off the field. Indiana State is being informed, and that means we are going to suspend play for at least a half hour. You have to have 30 minutes of clean time, no lightning in the area, in order to resume. John, this is hardly unexpected.
No, you know, we've been dodging it all day long. There really hasn't been lightning in the area, and of course we haven't seen it here, but all the the equipment we have says so. So you got to get the players off the field and to protect the fans in the stands as well. So it is what it is. We just have to waiting mode. We both did it last week, so we'll have to do it again this week.
And as far as Louisville is concerned, what a great start with Rajay Burns returning the punt for 55 yards before this suspended break.
Yeah, well, if you're going to get a suspension in the game, you'd certainly like to do it with the lead right there, and they were able to do it on special teams this time. But Indiana State, they've moved the ball on the ground in this first 2 series they had. They just got behind the chains with that penalty on that first possession.
Let's go back to special teams, and this is something that Kurt Mallory felt his team was not very good at the previous week, and I think it wound up biting him right here.
Yeah, well, again, tough conditions this way. You're a punter, you just want to get the ball off, and in doing so, he hit that line drive to the punt returner, and he's able to take it down the field like that. Got some good blocking down the field, but once he got by that first and second level of defenders, there was no stopping him.
So, could be a long night of college football here in Louisville, and we will take a break and come back in roughly 30 minutes to update our situation again. 7-0 in favor of the Cardinals. The game suspended because of lightning. We will return to Cardinal Stadium in about a half hour. Come on back, folks. With lightning. So, all that means that despite this horrific weather earlier tonight, we're ready to play college football again just 3.5 minutes into the game tonight as the 2 teams are back on the field. Louisville has a 7-0 lead. Jim Barber, John Gregory. Well, what a night it's been so far, and likely in terms of delays, John, we're not through yet, so take us to the mindset of all the players on both sides and this delay and how it affects them.
Yeah, well, pretty interesting. Just 3.5 minutes into this ball game, we get the delay, so it's really kind of a reset for both teams, I think. Louisville gets the new digs. Their $65 million end zone facility. They get the brand new locker room. They get to sit in. Indiana State on the road. That's never as nice. So I don't think that's going to be a big factor in this, but 3.5 minutes in, it gives the coaches to kind of get, okay, here's how they're going to play against us tonight. So I think it's just a reset, but it's not going to factor much into it.
Rajay Burns is from Trinity High School in Louisville. First time he's fielded a punt as a member of the Cardinals, and how good did this give, huh?
Yeah, low punt by Travis Reiner, and because of that, he's able to take it into the end zone. A couple key blocks down there, and an early score on special teams, and that's the way to get you jump started. But Indiana State, on the other side, Jaquan Keys has 3 rushes on the day, 17 yards. He's been pretty effective running the football early in this game, so we'll see what type of adjustments Louisville was able to make during that break.
We saw Rajay moments ago celebrating. He returned an interception for touchdown, had a pick 6 against Bowling Green as a member of Ohio State in 2016, then transferred to Louisville. So the Cardinals now are set to get going. Indiana State has the game's only first down to this point. And Jalil Kilpatrick, who has waited long enough, wants to get back on the field. Again, an Indiana State team that did not win in 2017. Started off convincingly in 2018 with a 49-0 win. It's about a payday of $500,000 for the Sycamores. And Kurt Mallory, who told us earlier in the week, I want to play one big game a year.
Yep.
And I'd love to do it within driving range. So perhaps Purdue, Indiana, some of the other schools. Notre Dame's very difficult to get on that schedule, but perhaps 2 of the Big Ten teams may be approached for a future game.
I think that's a good schedule, too, when you talk about the conference that they're in and how difficult that conference. You want to play a big money game, but keep it close to home if at all possible.
Back to live action. Yes, live action. Indiana State at the 36 on 1st and 10. And Keys bolting straight ahead past the 40-yard line. And a change in quarterbacks for Indiana State as Ryan Boyle, who has suffered through an injured leg, gets an opportunity to play tonight. They even have 3 quarterbacks, and Curtis Wilderman if necessary. So after the long delay, Kilpatrick was on the bench for a play. Now he'll get a chance to return here. He wears number 2. And at the last second, the Sycamores substituting, but still plenty of time to do so as the play clock is just down to 15. 2 teams have to get acclimated again, John, to playing.
It's like a scrimmage almost. You come out and just get in practice and you're ready to go against the defense.
Kilpatrick on a quarterback keep, drop for a loss. They'll spot him back at the 37-yard line.
We mentioned Kilpatrick last week running the football more so than throwing it, and they'd like to get him involved in the run game, but they've had so much success with their running backs now. That offensive line is a veteran group that have a couple transfers in on that left side that have effective during that first and second drive. We'll see if they go back to the run.
Dorian Etheridge, 17, got credit for the tackle. Keys trying to bowl his way forward, but he's not going very far. And Indiana State will have to give up the football on a 4th and 6.
And a good job by that Louisville defense, kind of gang tackling in that position right there. It's probably, I think, a little bit more difficult to get that mindset after that break as a defensive player, more so than the offense, to get fired up and be ready to play. So that was a really good job by the Cards getting off the field.
Number 10, Rajay Burns.
All right, Travis Reiner will try it again. Let's see if he kicks in the direction of Rajay Burns one more time. I'm sure he'll want to elevate this one, as a low line drive kick led to the 55-yard return for touchdown. Good snap, kick away. And this time Burns will let it bounce, and it goes with a pretty good bounce at that. The football will be spotted. How about this? All the way down to the 2-yard line. This time around for Reiner, a dandy punt. Good for 58 yards and no return. So a little redemption here, John.
Yeah, it certainly was. And it was good for Indiana State because they were able to move the chains a little bit, get a couple first downs. With most coaches will tell you offensively, that's what they want to do, move the chains. And then if you're going to punt it away, you can kind of flip the field. And boy, did they ever flip it.
Juwan Puma Pass back at quarterback for Louisville. Number of high majors were interested in his services. Start right at the top. John, Alabama had interest.
Yeah, Miami. There was as you said before, numerous teams after him, but you know, his brothers here and older brothers here, and oh my gosh, we're going to go into another delay.
You can tell by the boos here that the folks in the stands don't appreciate it. But lightning obviously is threatening, and that's the reason for the delay. They can play through this rain, but it's the threat of lightning within an 8-mile radius that has put another suspension in this game. So we're at the very least backed up another half hour, which means we'll resume at the earliest 20-9.
Wow, and Puma Pass, he played in the first series. They were 3 and out, and then they got a special team score, so I'm sure he's anxious to get this offense out on the field, even if they were on their own 2-yard line.
Probably feels like he hasn't worked at all tonight.
No. And he's got to say, why me? Because as soon as he walked out on the field, it started raining harder again. And again, that's not why where teams are heading back to the locker room. It's because of the lightning in the area and not the rain, certainly.
Fans here have been cautioned to go away, but a lot of them are remaining around. Just moments ago, Louisville was back at the 2-yard line and ready to go. And then the officials came in the picture, and suddenly they went from their own end zone into their own locker room. So we get off a punt and a running play, and that's about the extent of it. And back to the suites, most of these people go here. And why not? For John Gregory, Jim Barber, once again, we're in a weather delay. Set to resume in the neighborhood of 8:45 if the lightning ceases. Louisville 7, Indiana State nothing. Come on back. We'll update you as we get updates ourselves. Back live at Cardinal Stadium. This is what happened moments ago when the second weather delay occurred as Louisville and its starting quarterback Puma Pass were sent to the locker room. Fans were ordered to leave because of lightning in the area, and right now we're in a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. Right now the end zones are soaked. It's been a streak of water from the moment we left this broadcast position about a half hour ago, and we're not going to play for some time soon. In fact, only 6 minutes have been played in this game with Louisville leading 7-0. Well, John, the delay continues, so once again, the question is necessary to ask, how do the players and coaches deal with it?
Yeah, a little bit harder this time. You know, one delay and you think, oh, okay, we'll get through that. Now, you know, what starts to go through your mind a little bit. I know Puma Pass wants to get out there. You see that look on his face when they called that. So you feel for him and both these teams sitting in the locker room right now.
As far as we know, no curfew in effect, so we could go deep into the night. It remains 7-0 in a suspended game. We'll check back with you momentarily. Back at Cardinal Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. Here we go again. Back to live action. Jim Barber, John Gregory. And right now, let's take a look at who's been putting in work. Brought to you by Carhartt. These are our MVPs here, John. In fact, their work was much needed because both end zones were flooding.
Wow. Tell you what, it's just relentless. It's coming downhill there, so they can't get it off the field fast enough. On the other side, the end zone was flooded. It's completely fine right now. All the water off of there, but they're going to be pumping that out for a while, I think.
There's the end zone John speaks of that was knee-deep in water, but now it's fine. Already had a 50-minute delay followed by an hour-plus rain delay. Louisville has the ball at its own 2-yard line when play resumes, and it was Rajay Burns, the local product, who caught a punt at the 45-yard line and took it the rest of the way for 55. And that's our scoring in this game, John, in a game that's only been through 6 minutes of actual action.
Yep, now it's Louisville on their own 2-yard line, and this is where they're going to have to be really careful here coming out of this rain delay.
They start with the I formation, so these two teams who haven't played football for a while are getting reacclimated as Jonas Griffith, who is a Louisville product, comes up with a tackle, and they say he could be a difference maker on this Indiana State team this year.
Well, he's one of the guys we highlighted as an impact player. He was the top returner, 107 tackles last year for this team. And I'll tell you again, I said Louisville has to be careful in this situation. Typically a defense is not ready, but when you have them backed up on a 2 after the break, you know they're coming out fired up.
After the pickup of 1, 2nd and 9, Cardinals go conservative and able to get some breathing room. Now to the 9-yard line, and the carry by 33, Colin Wilson out of Green Cove Springs, Florida, considered to be one of the more talented running backs on this team. It's a gain of 6, 3rd and manageable. Just a sophomore Puma pass with the keys to the engine this year, following the footsteps of Teddy Bridgewater and Lamar Jackson, the Heisman Trophy winner, as a sophomore. 3 consecutive runs, good enough for a first down. With a run out close to the 20-yard line. So Jeremy Smith gets a chance to carry the football, and again, it's running back by committee, but it's a pretty talented committee. This is a pickup of 10.
Yeah, that's the one thing Bobby Petrino said. They got to find an identity, and at that running back, they got to find that key guy. Who is it going to be to step up? You need a guy that's going to be able to protect for Puma pass back there, but more importantly, you need that guy that can run the football.
Get the feeling a lot of guys are going to have some auditions. Inside handoff. And a pickup close to 9 on the running play. This time Hassan Hall gets a chance to handle. He is a good-looking freshman from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, he's the speed guy. 61-yard kickoff return last week. So they know he's got some speed. They need to get him involved some way. Not the biggest guy in the backfield, but you can run misdirection with him just like they did.
Officially a gain of 8. Almost like a free down for the quarterback pass, who carries for the first down. And again, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit called the game for ABC last Saturday night. The same thing about passes, he reminds you a lot of Ben Roethlisberger because of his dynamic structure and the difficulty in bringing him down.
Yeah, that's one of the things, a guy that can move around in the pocket. He's no Lamar Jackson as far as his ability to be able to run the football, but he can buy you some time, use his feet, and then he's got an awfully strong arm.
Plenty of time to throw over the middle, picked off. He threw right into coverage. And that turnover John spoke of, very much a factor as Jonas Griffith gets the pick, and Indiana State deep into Louisville territory. Yes, you can come home again. He played high school football in Louisville, and he has come back with a vengeance.
I'm not sure Puma pass was expecting the receiver to keep running there. Typically in a zone coverage, you'll have a guy that's coming across, will find a hole and sit there. And to me, it looked like pass was waiting for him to stop. He threw the ball so far behind him. I think the receiver and him miscommunication there as he kept running across the field.
Big scoring opportunity, John, for the Sycamores, at least for 3, and very possibly for a game-tying touchdown. This is Titus McCoy. Carried 10 times for 81 yards and a touchdown last week. He's pretty fired up. Plays for a Football Power in Center Grove High School, just outside Indianapolis. Pick up a 6. Sycamores will go quickly with a 3 wide out set. Design play for the quarterback. And a first down for Jalil Kilpatrick. As Indiana State in the red zone, a chance to tie this game.
Yep, pure running play there for the quarterback Kilpatrick, and they had Titus McCoy again leading up inside, blocking that time. And McCoy, as you said before, he's kind of the positive energy guy for this football team, and that's what Kurt Mallory told us about him. And they love his energy and like to have him out here inside that 20-yard line.
John, Indiana State perfect in the red zone last week against an overmatched opponent, 6 of 6. McCoy carries, breaks a tackle, and has to be gang tackled close to the 5-yard line. Titus stands 5'10", 190, a sophomore. A lot of underclassmen in this backfield for Indiana State. The future is looking quite bright.
Yep. Another handoff in the inside. You could see McCoy running with his eyes. He saw that vision there. The backers came for the Cards that time, and fortunate for them, they were able to get him down. Outside of that, those backers vacated that area.
Again, McCoy straight ahead. We talked to the offensive coordinator, Jeff Heklinski, about the offensive line. He said, you know, they played hard last year, but really we weren't big enough, we weren't strong enough.
No,
this year they feel it may be different.
And they had all 5 of the offensive line returning with experience, and then they added those 2 guys at left tackle and left guard with experience as transfers.
3rd and goal from the 2. McCoy straight ahead. End zone touchdown. Off the Puma pass turnover. McCoy gets the score, and Indiana State with a chance to tie.
Just power football. Indiana State said, we'll line up and we're going to beat you up front. They talk about the strength of the defensive line for this Louisville Cardinals defense, but matched up right now. Great job up front by Wozniak and James Lang on the right guard in the center combination as they were able to open up that hole for McCoy to sneak through.
Jerry Nunez for the extra point. I think the late Bill Mallory would be proud of his son Kurt Mallory with the line him up and push him around in the offensive line football. As Indiana State, a huge underdog, is tied at. Well, stop us if you've heard this before. Lightning is threatening the area again. And because of that, we have to lock our camera positions down for safety, so you'll be limited in your camera views. The Lightning has not reached that within 8-mile radius, so we'll play until that happens. John, we may be here all night.
Well, I'll tell you, if we get a game like we're seeing early in this thing, I mean, no team can get in rhythm. We can't get in rhythm up here. It's, you know, it's difficult with the stop and start, but you have to be ready as soon as you come out of that locker room. Right now, Indiana State looks like that was a team that was a little fired up coming out as they had the field position tilted in their direction. They've taken advantage of it.
And we'll kick off after the touchdown by McCoy. It is returnable from inside the 5. Louisville will start from the 15-yard line or thereabouts. After the modest return, we'll step aside just for a moment and hope to have football when we come back. Welcome back. Yet another game suspension due to severe weather alert here in the area. At this rate, we'll finish later than the Rice-Hawaii game on the islands that starts at midnight. Jim Barber, John Gregory. To the highlights we've had so far, it's been dramatic. First, we start with Rajay Burns in the 55-yard punt return.
Yeah, the short time we've been here, we've seen some excitement with this punt return here for a touchdown to get things started for the Cardinals, but Indiana State, after the last break, they were able to come out after this pass was picked off by Ellis. He takes it down there, and then Indiana State's offensive line, Jim, just dominated after this.
And a 5-play, 22-yard drive after the pick, capped by running back Titus McCoy's touchdown, and the extra point tied this game at 7-7 with 3:42 remaining in the first quarter. So another 30-minute delay at the least. We've now into 3 delays that are going to total roughly 3 hours. Indiana State 7, Louisville 7. The teams are back. What's left of the fans who came to the stadium at 7 o'clock tonight are back as well. And we're ready for college football again with 3:42 still remaining in the first quarter. We've had several delays tonight, all of length, and it's been due to lightning in the area. The rain has been tough enough, and there is flooding throughout the entire Louisville campus. Here at the stadium, they can play in rain. That's not the difficulty. It's the threat of lightning that shuts things down, and we've had a shutdown on several occasions tonight, along with what likely has been about a half a foot of rain. First delay was early in this game. It took 50 minutes. Second delay to follow, an hour 10. This delay, short compared to the other two, roughly a half hour. It has taken 3 hours to play a little bit more than 11 minutes. And because there is no curfew that we're aware of, either from the stadium officials or the NCAA, we will play late tonight. And just in case you're joining us, as you take a look at Kurt Mallory, the head coach of Indiana State, here's what you have missed if you haven't been around. First, Rajay Burns out of Trinity High School in Louisville, taking it to the house, 55 yards, 7-0 Cards. But after a rain delay, Puma pass through into coverage, picked off by Jonas Griffin, and off the return, Indiana State in great territory inside the Louisville 25, where Titus McCoy scored after that. 7-7 football game with 3:42 remaining in the first quarter, and that's where we will pick it up. So the Cardinals are back on offense. They're in the home red. This is the home opener for Louisville, and I don't think anybody thought it would take this long. But we still have a lot of time and a lot of football to go this evening.
Seems like we've seen those highlights a few times, huh? As we get back to getting this thing going. Let's see if this Cardinal offense can get that run game established. They started off pretty good, then we had the interception. So let's see if they go back to the run game here as they want to establish that identity.
Everybody up on the line of scrimmage. Safe pass to get past his first completed pass. That's to Tutu Atwell, Jatarius Atwell, the freshman from Miami, Florida.
Well, another freshman for this Louisville offense. As you can see the good speed that he has. He had the longest play from scrimmage last week against Alabama. He had 1 catch for 30 yards. But again, you can see why they want to get the ball in these quick guys' hands to make guys miss in the open field.
After a gain of 7, 2nd and 3. Another safe pass to the flat. First down. So Puma pass started the game 0 for 3. He's hit back-to-back passes here. That will help perhaps get him more of a groove. And off the catch by Devontae, it's first down, and the football now spotted at the 29 of the Cards.
That's good.
I would say there's roughly a few thousand in the stands, if that much. As a lot of the folks have said their goodbyes tonight, and because of the flooding around the stadium, supposedly on Interstate 65 in Louisville and the campus, it won't be easy to leave here and eventually find your home, but hopefully everybody will get there safely.
Got to give it to those fans that have hung around through that 2.5 hour delays to be here tonight, but they're going to cheer on their Cards one way or the other.
Indiana State rushing 4, dropping 7. Pass will run. And unable to get out of contain on a very strong defensive play by 98 Stephon Mays, who's from Louisville. So we're seeing a lot of Louisville products on both sides tonight, John.
Yeah, and they were excited to have this opportunity. You got to secure the edge on the outside there. Mays listed as a defensive end. Looked like he came out as a linebacker out there, and tough to make a open field tackle on Jawan pass, but he was able to do it, creating 3rd and long here.
Played at Male High School here in Louisville, Kentucky. 3rd and long. Sycamores come with pressure. Pass steps up. Incomplete. And this fired up sidelines of Indiana State. Now we'll see its team get the football. Back defending Caleb Newman, number 11, the transfer.
Boy, that's the second time now that we've seen Puma pass, deliver that ball behind their receivers. Not sure again if he thought he was going to curl up, but he came to the inside. It doesn't look like they're on the same page right now.
And difficult for Louisville to get in the groove as Mason King punts for the second time. Bouncing in the direction of Rontrez Morgan, who lets it roll out of bounds at the 28-yard line. So with a $1.25 remaining in the first quarter, a punt of 42 and no return. And the Sycamores back on offense. And I think, John, it's safe to say that this game has been neutralized in terms of the heavy underdog in Indiana State because of the weather.
Yeah, no question about it. You ask the question all the time, how does it affect the teams when they're sitting in the locker room when they come out? Really, you don't know. Everybody's a little bit different, and each individual's different. So tough to get back up. This is an emotional game to be able to get up and down like that.
Let's see if Louisville brings some people. That's the MO of Brian Van Gorder, first-year defensive coordinator. He sent a lot of folks to pressure Alabama in that loss last week, and at times it did get pressure in the right spots, but Alabama just has too many athletes on this particular play. It's a gain of a couple, 2nd and 9, actually a gain of 1. Football at the 29 as we wind down the first quarter. Believe it or not. Back to McCoy. Cutting back in, setting up 3rd down. Titus McCoy, who carried for the touchdown prior to our delay. A gain of 3.
You mentioned it, manageable on 3rd down. Running the football has been key for Indiana State so far in this game.
Need to pick up 6. And McCoy won't get it. Running off tackle. Yes, he will. He breaks contain and gets the first down past the 40-yard line. Brought down by Trayshawn Smith. Looked like he was held up, but this kid got 10, and he's a tough one.
Well, we talked about his emotional leadership. Look at him drive his legs there. That's why he's in this ball game. 74 yards his freshman year, just a sophomore. Not a big guy, 5'10", 190 pounds, but no give up in him.
Now a quarterback keep for a couple on first down. Sure seems like Kurt Mallory is following in the footsteps of his dad, Bill Mallory, who established that great offensive line at Indiana. Nearly got to the Rose Bowl one year. So the rebuilding of Indiana State looking solid so far through the first game, and now a quarter of the second game. To the second quarter we go. Louisville 7, Indiana State 7. Bobby Petrino, head coach of the University of Louisville, second time around as the boss. The midst of a 7-year contract. Pays him annually roughly $3.5 million, a huge buyout. It started at $10.5 million, now down to $6.5. Trying to get his team back into this game, which now is tied at 7. And Indiana State has fought through a first quarter dead even with a team that was favored by roughly 5 touchdowns.
When there was some attitude there, Gigi Robinson, the nose tackle, using his strength that time, throw the running back down, and somebody needs to light a fire under this defense. John Greenard, the defensive end that was the leader and captain on this defensive team, was out with an injury this game after getting hurt in that Alabama game, and they're looking for somebody, and they need somebody to step up early in this game.
3rd and 8. And close to the first down, not enough. John, a lot of speculation about Petrino's future prior to the start of the season with the change in the athletic directorship here. But you talk to loyalists, fans of Bobby, saying, look, guys won a lot of games here, put us in a number of bowl games, and right now has the makings of a very strong team because of the youth and the athleticism of these young kids.
Yeah, and sometimes things can get a little out of whack, especially when you start the season against Alabama. And, this team, went in there, fought that game, played hard, but they're loaded with athletes, and they're very young, too. And that's the key for this Louisville team is they're a young football team that's going to have an opportunity to grow under just a sophomore quarterback.
Well said. Travis Reiner had a 58-yard punt moments ago. Now 51-yard. After punting a line drive to Rajay Burns, it was returned for a score. Moments into Louisville ball starting at its own 10. The ESPN app. Now with ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now. A lot of folks who have left the stadium joining us on the app tonight for the duration of this game, and who knows when it's going to end.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Could stay dry somewhere.
Especially if you're struggling getting your car around the area, which is flooded. Previous drive started from the 2-yard line of the Cardinals. This one a little bit better at the 10. Toss out to Jalen Smith. We mentioned Smith, Seth Dawkins, and Dez Fitzpatrick as three very talented wide receivers at the beginning of our broadcast, way back at 7 o'clock. And if pass gets time to throw to them, they could be dangerous in open space.
All three of those guys can take it to the house at any given time, but this offense right now needs some big plays. They haven't been able to get anything going in that first quarter, that stop and go first quarter.
On a 2nd and 4 penalty flag. And that'll be a 5-yard walk-off against the Cardinals.
Number 9, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's our referee, Trey Blake. Tonight's crew from the Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC.
First penalty we've seen on the offensive side. Last week, this offense had some troubles with some illegal substitutions. The staff was actually calling out phrases that meant both the same thing for personnel groups and formations, and created some problems for them early in that Alabama game. They seem to have gotten all that straightened out.
On 2nd and 11. Pass with time. First down, past the 20-yard line on a strike. On that play, able to hit 86, Devontae Pete. A gain of 11 and quarterback pass. Well, he's following the footsteps of two great ones, Teddy Bridgewater and Lamar Jackson. Those are the more than sensational numbers they delivered in their 3 years as freshmen, sophomore, and juniors. Pass having to start after his freshman year, which was a rather modest campaign, nothing compared to either Teddy or Lamar. As you take a look at Cottrell Moss with a tackle there.
That was Day Williams, the running back. Now we've seen about 5 different guys touch the football for this Cardinal offense in that backfield. Again, trying to find that one guy who's going to step up. But I think you got to give a guy an opportunity. You put him in there and give him a series or two. They just keep mixing it up. So, really tough to get in that rhythm, especially on a night like this that has created no rhythm at all.
Cardinals with an empty backfield. That's 5 receivers. To the flat. Sets up a 3rd and short. Marcus Riley, freshman from Tallahassee, Florida, with a catch.
Yeah, I like what he did here. Just quick throw to the outside. Riley did a good job of driving the defender off and really stopped in his spot, came back to the ball to help the quarterback. But that's what you want to do as a wide receiver, and another true freshman touching the football for Louisville.
3rd and 3, early second quarter in a 7-7 game. Sycamores rush 4. And they're going to get the football back. A frustrating night tonight for Mr. Pass, who was on money against Alabama at times. Tonight, not the same.
Again, he expected the receiver to break out there. He let that ball go. The receiver kept going up the field. Again, 3rd time now we've seen have to question, just why they're not connecting on the same page. One guy's thinking he's running across the field when the quarterback thinks he's stopping.
A high end over kick by Mason King. Drives the returnee to the 26-yard line. Hauled in by Rontrez Morgan. And more chippiness between the two teams. They're not up past their bedtime, John, but they're not happy with the fact that we haven't had much football. That's a punt of 47. Good field position, though, for the Sycamores when we get back to business. Kurt Mallory, second-year head coach of Indiana State. The Mallory coaching tree, built 27 years before his passing. Doug with the Falcons, Mike with the Jaguars. Quite a history there, and Kurt rebuilding Indiana State. Hopefully one win at a time. In a 7-7 game here in a short pass to the flat. And we got a penalty flag after the reception, and that's going to tack on 15 more yards. Dante Jones was the receiver. And 15 yards now marked off against Louisville. And a frustrating quarter plus for the Cards.
Boy, that's just a continuation. Boy, he's out of bounds there. Boy, you could see that late hit.
Yeah, check that. It was Rontrez Morgan with the catch. And that was pretty obvious there.
Wow, that was a continuation. When we were in our timeout, there was a big scuffle going on Louisville's sideline with their middle linebacker. Etheridge was probably saying he was being held, but they got into it on their own sideline there. So things need to really calm down for Louisville right now, because Indiana State's come here to play tonight.
E.J. Blue was the one who was guilty of the infraction. Certainly don't mind emotion on the sidelines. You got to be careful that it's channeled into on the field activity. But it's been a frustrating start for Louisville, and you can appreciate the fact that they're concerned about it. Here comes the blitz off the edge, tapped up in the air and nearly picked off. Well, you mentioned Dorian Etheridge, number 17, and his conversation was long and continuing, trying to get his word in with one of the coaches. And finally, this ceased. Rain starts to pick up again on 3rd and long.
You're right, Jim. You were talking about some controlled emotion. You want to play with emotion here, but you can't you can't make the mistakes, cause the penalties and everything. This type of night, a ball is going to bounce screwy ways out there. I mean, you're going to get turnovers. Everything's going to happen. So you can't make mental mistakes out there. You got to be focused and take care of the business. Take care of the little things. The big things will fall into place that way.
Well, we've seen New England's Tom Brady get upset at the coaching staff and Josh McDaniels, so it happens. Happens on all levels as the rain starts to pour down again. And that may be delay of game here, allowing Indiana State to move 5 yards back on the punt.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Did you ever have disagreements with your coaches on the sidelines?
Yeah, but you got to get back to focusing. As a former quarterback, you can't allow that to happen. The rest of the team sees you. And the leader and the middle linebacker and the leader of that defense, you got to kind of set an example too. But emotional game.
Return set up inside the 10. It'll bounce into the end zone. Punt of 45. 9 minutes, first half. Well, shall we all be on upset alert here from Louisville? Coming up on the Capital One halftime report, how a hurricane overcame adversity. Malik Young following a severe neck injury. Creative uniforms and first half highlights and statistics. $63.5 million renovation. This is the new end zone suite here. They were really hoping to show off this whole area tonight, and then weather took over. much of a disappointment to Louisville officials, as the crowd, which was overly large to start the game, has been quite small as we've gotten into the thick of things here. And off a running play that nets a first down. Quarterback pass at 231 pounds, hard to bring down. Picks up actually close to a first down, gets 9. It'll be 2nd and 1. So look at the renovations of the new end zone and the new suite areas that have taken up a number of different locations, include 12 field suites, over 800 club seats, and approximately 6,000 added to the overall population of the stadium, as Louisville now has a first down. Pick of a 7. That's Javian Hawkins, the running back, who also wears 10, just like Rajay Burns does. Football at the 36 of Louisville in a 7-7 game with 8 minutes remaining first half. Well, John mentioned earlier that Louisville needed to get back to the run game with pass struggling, and the run game with some pretty strong backing up front. Sees a 9-yard gain by Hassan Hall, bring up 2nd and 1, and there's just knocking people off the blocks there in that offensive line.
Yeah, and that's what the talk was coming into this, the size of Louisville's offensive line versus the smaller Indiana State defensive line. And last 2 carries, both freshmen, Hassan Hall and Javian Hawkins.
In the meantime, safe pass to the flat for the first down. Let's see, Foy up front at left tackle's 301. Kenny Thomas weighs in at 328. Cole Bentley 316. Lucaeus McNeil at 328. And Becton at 355. That's allowing pass to throw that first down, or throw for the first down, and also run the football. Now over the middle. Hit his tight ends against Alabama. Now the ball is loose, picked up by Indiana State. Denzel Bonner's got it.
Play action fake, holds the linebackers. That allows the tight end to get behind him. Mickey Crum, a good receiver, as you mentioned, 3 catches last week. They're looking at this. They may get a face mask here at the end of this play.
Was a penalty flag at the 10-yard line.
I don't know what else that could have been besides, it looked like to me, kind of a face mask there. But that's what I was saying before. You know, you just keep fighting in this.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. During the return, personal foul, face mask on the offense with a 15-yard penalty. The previous play is under review.
First off, they're going to see if Crum was down and then fumbled the football. The ruling on the field, as mentioned moments ago, is the fact that he did lose the ball and that it should be in the possession of Indiana State. This is what the officials are going to be looking at. What do you think, John?
Tough to see from that angle, but I actually think that may have been a face mask on Indiana State before the ball was fumbled. That looks like the face mask there, of course, and it was called. But the big question is, you know, was that ball out before Crum hit the ground?
Well, in a night of delays, this is fitting, huh? As we're up to replay booth right now, and Ralph Pickett, who's the replay official, and the communicator, Rick Page.
Let's take another look and see if Indiana State here grabs a face mask. It's all up right here. Does he get his hand under there? No, tough to save.
Recovered by Denzel Bonner, who played at Community College of Eastern Mississippi. So this is a big review right now with 7 minutes remaining in the first half.
showing the replay on the big screens they have here over that new end zone area, and no face mask by Indiana State here. Crum trying to stiff arm here, gets pulled down, but can't tell where the ball
After
comes.
review, the ruling on the field stands. It will be Indiana State's ball, first down.
So the
Game
second
clock operator,
turnover
please reset the game clock to
of the night has
7:01.
been committed by the
7:01.
Cardinals. Certainly the longer this game goes, the better chance there is for Indiana State to pull a huge upset. Because after the catch and run by Crum, the fumble occurs. Now Indiana State with the football close to its own 25. Kilpatrick on the keep. Past the 30 and up near the marker at the 34-yard line. Well, Jalil Kilpatrick can throw the ball. We also know he's a threat to run it. And when you talk to the coaching staff of Indiana State after his pickup at 10, they say he's doing pretty well in the growth package right now. Picking up the game nicely. To McCoy, who has the Sycamore touchdown. He is gang tackled and pending the spot for a loss.
Mentioned Greenard out of the ball game because of his injury, and a defensive captain, D. Smith, the other captain of this strong safety, comes up there with an attitude and rips it down that time. Indiana State trying to go up tempo once they move the chains for that first down.
2nd and 11. Louisville bringing 4 on a run play up the middle, good for a couple of yards. Well, Louisville in trouble tonight, at least in the first half from the ACC, and Clemson barely survives against Texas A&M, stopping a 2-point conversion to win 28-26 at Kyle Field in Texas tonight. Third and long for the Sycamores. Let's see if defensive coordinator Brian Van Gorder brings pressure. Instead, a zone read. Couple broken tackles, nowhere near enough for the first down. And Indiana State must give up the ball. Are you surprised at the call there?
You know, you just don't want to turn the ball over down here. You can punt it away, but they have not been putting the ball in the air very often tonight. Right now, I think they're just happy to try to pick up that yardage and play field position, especially with these conditions out here with the rain starting again.
Kilpatrick only threw 13 passes last week, John, in a 49-0 win. He has attempted just 2 tonight. One of the offensive weapons for the Sycamores has been the punter, Travis Reiner.
Again, pouring out here. As a punter, you got to make sure you secure the football here.
Line of scrimmage, the 40. Penalty flag on the play. That'll blow this play up.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 24, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Rajay Burns is deep for Louisville, already has the 55-yard return for touchdown. So tonight, Louisville without an offensive touchdown with just 4:43 remaining in the first half.
Wouldn't surprise me if you're Louisville on special teams here. You come after the punter knowing that it's difficult. You know, ball slides through, hits him in the chest. If he bobbles it at all, you can block this thing.
Another Travis Reiner bounce to the 22-yard line. Louisville ball. Can it muster some offense after a punt of 42? This is the view of Lynn Stadium, the soccer field across the street from Cardinal Stadium, where the flooding has really taken hold. The campus of Louisville is flooded. The rain continues to fall here. We've had lengthy rain delays of 50 minutes, 70 minutes, and 33. Yet those are some very devoted Louisville fans right there. And we still have about 1,000 or so of those in the stadium.
They are scattered around, but they are here. And the ones that are here are just standing on their feet screaming.
Why not? Louisville football at its own 22. Still without an offensive score tonight. Running the football to the near side. And a pickup on first down of 8. Hall, the ball carrier there. Hassan Hall, Trey Smith, Javian Hawkins, Day Williams and Colton Wilson have all carried tonight for Louisville in the first half. I guess this is like a lengthy audition for the running backs. 2nd and 2. Ball loose. Pass may have gotten on it though. Looked like Indiana State had a shot. But Puma pass reacting quickly, able to fall on it. Huge loss on the play, but Louisville keeps the ball.
Yeah, Louisville was fortunate to be able to get on this. It squirted out perfectly where Jawan Pass could just fall on top of it. If not, that could have been a pick 6 for Indiana State.
So now 3rd and 8. So we get down to 3 1/4 left in the first half. Pass with time. Tries to break, contain, can't do it. Indiana State's going to get the ball back again. Jonas Griffith came up with the ball. There was no signal that the ball would be in the hands of Indiana State. Good try, though, by Jonas. He's a Louisville kid back home tonight.
Boy, and you could see again the Cardinals, some of the guys on the offense now looking at each other and kind of raising their voices again. And it just discombobulated, right?
Frustrating night for them, that's for sure. Mason King with a punt. Montrez Morgan is going to let it go. It's a good one. Going to die at about the 15-yard line. Terrific punt by Mason King of 63 yards. So that'll flip the field, John, with 2:18 remaining. Louisville and Indiana State, all 3 timeouts remain here in the first half. Fans from the Terre Haute area have made the trip. It's about a 3.5-hour bus drive, which is what Indiana State will be aboard, assuming it can get out of the stadium and out of the area, do all the flooding.
You expect their fans to stay. You're going to drive all this way. You might as well stick it out.
Indiana's just defeated Virginia 20-16, so Hoosiers off to a 2-0 start. Florida State trailing Samford at halftime in Tallahassee 23-21 with a short turnaround of 5 days after the 3-touchdown loss to Virginia Tech. Neither team able to muster much offense in this game. Punt return for a score for Louisville. Made it 7-0, and then off a pick, Indiana State had to go just 22 yards to tie the game on a touchdown by Titus McCoy. Got an injured Cardinal. 17, the linebacker Dorian Etheridge is down.
Wow. You talk about devastating to a defense. Losing Greenard last week, if you lose Etheridge for any length of time, even in this ball game here, you could tell, you could see some of the players shaking their heads out there on the field. As looks like his left ankle got stepped on by one of his own players.
That's a Monty Cabon, 53, backup defensive end. Etheridge, first true freshman to lead the team in tackles last year with 83, and you're right. Loss of Greenard in the first quarter against Alabama in Orlando was huge. And there were a couple of other players shaken up in the game, and now this here in really adverse conditions tonight for both teams. Let us hope he's okay.
Yeah, let's hope he can get up and get off the field without any help here, but looks pretty ginger as he takes that first step.
Just in case you're wondering, Indiana State will get the football to start the second half. Sophomore from Charleston, West Virginia, being helped off. Robert Hicks, number 5, and Damian Smith typically back up that Mike position. He's able to put some pressure on it, but not much.
No, that doesn't look good. I think if you're Indiana State here, you just have to make sure in that huddle you're talking about your guys holding on to the football. This Louisville defense is going to be very aggressive here, trying to punch it out in this wet condition. So they'll probably be pretty conservative, but even in that, you better be prepared to hold on to the football.
Especially with a good punt game going tonight for Indiana State. Jalil Kilpatrick, junior from Detroit, is the quarterback on 2nd and 9. Now contact, line of scrimmage.
Offside. Defense, number 55 with contact. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
2nd and 9 now becomes 2nd and 4. Again, the Sycamores, all 3 timeouts remain in the first half if they feel like they can air it out here, and neither team has done that in the first half with this constant rain. Zone read, running to the near side of the field. 3 Cardinals in pursuit. Stop this play at the 28 and the carry by Jaquan Keys.
It's kind of a speed rush to the outside, just trying to break, contain, able to do it and pick up enough to get the chains moving. Nothing fancy, just kind of good hard-nosed football right now. Indiana State's offensive line still continuing to push these red shirts of the Cardinal defense back.
And you wonder if offensive coordinator Jeff Heklinski will start to open things up. Not yet anyway. Keys popped at the line of scrimmage, got a couple.
Boy, that's the strong safety, D. Smith again, the captain we talked about, coming up and laying a lick just 2 yards from the line of scrimmage. Looked like there was a big hole there, but he was able to fill it quickly.
Timeout being called with $1:14 remaining, taken by the Cardinals, who hope to get the football back. Again, keep in mind Indiana State will get the kickoff to start the second half. Last week, the Sycamores got their first win in more than a year. Opened up Thursday night in Terre Haute. Began the first official week of football, and the locker room celebration, well, if you didn't know better, you thought Sycamores won a conference championship or headed to the playoffs. That's what a first win will do for you.
That's right. That's a whole year's worth of celebration right there.
Second and 8. Back to Keys again, straight ahead. Going to be a yard shy. Jaquan Keys, lettered in football, Perry Meridian High School in Indianapolis, was on the scout team and the practice squad in 14. Did not play in 2015. Was a backup running back last year. Now here he is, starring in the backfield for Indiana State. This is a 3rd and 1. 45 remaining in the first half. On 3rd downs, Indiana State 2 of 7. Keys again, got the first down. Now if you're the Sycamores, do you think about using your timeouts and try to go vertical?
That's a possibility. Maybe you give it one shot, but again, you don't want to get sacked in a fumble or anything like this. You'll take going in 7-7 in this particular night right now, but I like what Jaquan Keys is doing. Every time they hand the football off, he's got both arms on it, locked on both ends of the football. Not going to turn this thing over. That's what senior experience will do for you, and every time he takes that handoff, he's making sure he stays over the top of it and not going to let any of these guys kind of rip it out of there.
Sycamores just content to run out the clock. And we'll go to the break in a 7-7 tie. So Kurt Mallory's team that needed more than a year to get its first victory is in position maybe to get its second. Started well tonight for Louisville. even with all the conditions, but then a pick set up the Indiana State tying touchdown. We'll be back with a Capital One halftime report after this. Typically, the Sycamores about Rontrez Morgan and Dante Hendricks deep on kickoffs and punts. Blanton Creaky to kick off. This one into the end zone. Football to the 25-yard line of Indiana State. Sycamores with the blue uniforms, blue numbered uniforms, white jerseys, tops and bottoms. Will be on the bus when this game is over, assuming it can escape this area due to the flooding. And then back to Terre Haute to arrive very deep into the night. That's Jalil Kilpatrick. Last week, 8 of 13 for 84 yards, ran for a touchdown. Let's see if the Sycamores, John, have as much success running the ball in the second half as they did in the first. On play action, Kilpatrick to throw into coverage, incomplete and well defended by Louisville. Back there, among others for the Cardinals, D. Smith, the captain of this team.
Yeah, just the third pass attempt today for Indiana State, and it's the second time we've seen Kilpatrick move out of the pocket, trying to protect him, understanding that Louisville's going to come after him pretty aggressively. They've moved the pocket a few times, and that's given him time to throw the football.
2nd and 10, back to the ground game. Huge hole. Keys with a football up to midfield. Jaquan Keys found a seam in that secondary and carries for 29. And the Sycamore running attack continues to have success against Louisville.
D. Smith, that time the strong safety we've mentioned a few times, has been able to come up and fill the hole. That time he dived at the feet of the running back, not able to get to him, and a big gain for Indiana State.
Back to Keys, running wild again into the secondary. There is a flag on the play as he's belted out of bounds at the 30. We'll see if this play holds up. It will not, as the penalty is coming up against Indiana State, and that's got to be a frustrating one after the huge gain into Louisville territory down to the 30.
Yeah, they're going to get Isaiah Edwards, the big left guard. They call him the Big Tuna.
Holding, offense, number 10. Excuse me, number 55. 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Big Tuna stands 6'7" and 390. Biggest kid on this football team out of Katy, Texas, and Independence Community College. So that only costs Indiana State 20 that was gained on the play. Back the Sycamores up another 10.
Yeah, he was looking over to his coaches on the sideline saying, I had my hands inside, but no, that wasn't the case. You could see that hole all the way from up here.
So now it is 1st and 20 from the Indiana State 39. Certainly a pivotal play to start the second half. Little option right now, almost a freeze option. Kilpatrick throwing at the last minute. Intended for number 8, Dante Hendricks. Well, Kurt Mallory's dad started his coaching regime at Indiana with an 0-11 season, and several years later were playing in bowl games. Was in a running with Michigan State for the berth to the Rose Bowl in '87. Mallory's team winless last year, trying to make something happen there, and that screen unsuccessful as the pass intended for 31 Christian Covington goes awry.
Boy, that was a good play call. They were expecting a blitz from the Cardinals. They got what they needed there, but forced to throw the ball in a hurry, and Covington, the freshman coming out of the backfield, was not ready for that. Had they connected on that, there was an opportunity for a big play.
And instead, faced with a 3rd and 20, let's see if it tries to, Indiana State tries to eat up some of the yardage. It's in deficit right now as Louisville is forced to use a timeout. A minute gone by in the third quarter. It is 3rd and 20 for Kurt Mallory, and Indiana State, as Louisville has dropped 3 of its defenders back to the Cardinal 45-yard line. 31 of the 36 Sycamore plays on the ground. Make it 32 out of 37. They go conservative on third down and will punt it away, putting the ball back in the hands of punter Travis Reiner after a gain of 4.
No surprise that time with Indiana State did. Louisville had 3 defenders back, as you'd mentioned. They were just going to run the football there and create a fourth down and punt this thing away and try to play some defense like they have been all night long.
6th punt of the game for Travis Reiner, whose longest has been 58. Rajay Burns to catch at the 25. And this time, after fighting through it, able to return just a couple of yards on a punt of 31. Remember, Burns was the one that caught the line drive punt back in the first quarter and took it to the house. So how can this Louisville Cardinal offense get into sync after struggling through the first 2 quarters?
Well, the thing about it is they haven't been able to put the long drive together. So if that's not working for you, sometimes you got to take the opportunity to make a big play, and that's throw the ball down the field, and we haven't seen them do that all night. Granted, the conditions haven't been good, but you got to trust some of your guys that you have out there. Those 3 guys we highlighted, those guys can go up and get it. You got to give them an opportunity to go catch one.
Des Fitzpatrick to the near side. 2 receivers to the far side. Ball is fumbled. Pass gets it back, but a loss on the play of a couple of yards. Louisville's turned the ball over twice and fumbled on 2 other occasions and been able to recover. Hardly looks like the same Bobby Petrino team that, while getting blown out by Alabama, was able to move the football on several drives. 2nd and long. Now 3rd and long. And Indiana State coming with some pressure on Pass, who was knocked to the floor.
Same thing that time, not on the same page. That time it was Pass thinking his receiver, and you could see him right there pointing to his receiver that he thought he was going to keep running across in that situation, and the receiver hooked up. Just the opposite of what happened when he threw the interception earlier in the game.
These are about the best weather conditions, John, we've had all night, with just a light rain right now. Indiana State going to bring some pressure. Pass picks it up. He's got a receiver to the 36-yard line, finding tight end Mickey Crumps. Not enough for a first down, though, as they are short by 3 yards.
Well, right now it looks like they're going to go for it here.
Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, I think Bobby Petrino is trying to send a message to his football team right now. Maybe they're just going to try to draw them off size. But this is dangerous for Louisville.
Chip Kelly tried this against Cincinnati, backfired last week at the Rose Bowl in Los Angeles. Play clock at 8.
He may just call timeout here. They're just going to take the penalty.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So Mason King coming out for his 5th punt. He's averaged 51 yards per. Well, you know, this is past his first season, so there's
going to be some bumps.
Oh, yeah. Learning experience.
No question.
Montrez Morgan's the deep man. Dante Hendricks positioned at the 40. Game right now in the hands of the punters. Fair catch being called. Indiana State will start from its own 30 with 11.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. That was a punt of 40 and no return. We're approaching 11:30 Eastern time, and we're early in the 3rd. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Oh, why not, huh?
Flossing.
Yeah.
Fast flosser.
We got that right this time. After our screw up in Little League Baseball. Jim Barber, John Gregory, Indiana State football from its own 30. Locked in a 7-7 game with Louisville. Sycamores have been good at the run game tonight, producing its only touchdown, their only touchdown in the first half. by Titus McCoy. Just carried the football. He is number 30.
Number 1, DJ Dinosaur, the tackle. They go 2nd and 6.
Quarterback Jaleel Kilpatrick got to step up. In trouble, brought down. Actually able to pick up a yard on the play. Had a receiver all the way down at the 20.
Yeah, Dante Hendricks, their speedster, down there trying to, they're using max protection right now, doing everything. If they're going to throw the ball, it's going to be to 1 or 2 guys they have out in a route trying to break something deep. Louisville's defense, they'll have all 11 guys within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, so they're going to get some one-on-one coverage. Louisville trying to be aggressive to stop this run.
Here it comes with pressure right now. Kilpatrick steps up. He's got a man on the outside. We know the Cardinals like to bring pressure. And Michael Thomas on the reception and run. Good for 20. Makes them pay.
Boy, this is not an easy throw. You're throwing it from the opposite hash across the field over the shoulder of the receiver, and he just drops it in there nicely for the big gain.
Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator for the Sycamores, or rather for Louisville, spent 7 years in the National Football League. And when you talk to Jeff Heklinski, the offensive coordinator for Indiana State, saying, do you think they'll defend you any differently than they did Alabama? I said, hey, that's in Van Gorder's DNA. That's what he does.
Yep. He's going to come after you, be aggressive. And in this situation, you can afford to do it because right now they haven't proven, Indiana State hasn't proven that they can run by the Cardinals defense, talking about their secondary. I don't know what happened there, flag down, but it looks like they're Indiana State's actually got a center that's working, taking some snaps over there.
As you take a look at Brian Van Gorder and Kilpatrick shake it up on the play. Don't know if it's his arm or his shoulder there. A significant loss for Indiana State if he cannot continue. 7, Nick Okiki tracked him down and made the tackle that caused the injury. Sycamores have a backup and a third-string quarterback, and you'll see the backup Ryan Boyle, the junior out of Urbandale, Iowa, now at the controls. He has played in this game so far, but this is a pressure situation now on 1st and 15. And this running game, which has been aided by this offensive line of Levitt, Edwards, Wozniak, Lang, and Kachowski, that busted a hole for 9. And if Indiana State pulls this upset tonight, this whole line has come of age.
Yeah, think about this offense last year. This was an offense that scored 90 points in a total of 11 games and was shut out twice last year. Look, a lot different ball club they have this year with the transfers in here and the recruiting that Coach Mallory's doing.
Now play action after the nice run. Got a man at the 5-yard line. Incomplete. Number 4, Rontrez Morgan stretched out. Couldn't haul it in. 3rd down. There is a flag on the play.
Well, that's the one time all day that they've gone down the field, and boy, did they have an opportunity.
Of course, had Morgan caught it, it wouldn't have held. But nonetheless, because the running game's been effective, John, that sets up the play action.
Yeah, it sure does. And we were up here in the press box before the ball game, and Ryan Boyle was standing there, and he was pretty impressive the way he was throwing the deep ball.
Now to roll out and throw. That one hop to the 35-yard line, not good. And now setting up a 4th down for Indiana State and a punting situation.
4th down.
Boyle's got a pretty good arm on him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And, you know, when you talk about him and how he compares to Kilpatrick, they like his ability to run the football like that. But I do think that he gives them a little different look with that ability to throw the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Punt number 7 of the game for Travis Reiner. Rajay Burns deep. Low line drive kick. And this one not of much substance, even though it's pinned inside the 20. And we will step aside. 9 minutes for the third quarter after a punt of 25. No return. Still tied at 7. Big stage for number 3, Malik Cunningham, the backup Louisville quarterback. Redshirt freshman from Montgomery, Alabama. Jawan pass sent to the sidelines by Bobby Petrino. Bit exasperated by passes played tonight, in which Jawan has been 8 of 14 for just 89 yards. So we'll see if Cunningham can jumpstart the offense. And it begins with a running play. And it'll be good enough for a first down and a pickup of 11. The Louisville running game has been pretty much non-existent tonight. So to get something going right now could be huge for the Cards.
Yeah, anything to create a spark. And a lot of times a guy coming off the bench, as you take a look at Puma pass on the sidelines, numbers not good. Just hadn't seemed to be on the same page as his wide receivers all day long. So a switch at quarterback could ignite this team right now.
While there's hardly any rain in the stadium right now, huge carry on first down. This is Cunningham. Close to midfield. Malik Cunningham is a dual threat for this team. Rated as the top quarterback coming out of the state of Alabama.
Well, you can certainly see the quickness that he has right there. It's a completely different look than what Puma pass gives this offense. And they've got Jeremy Smith, the big back in the backfield. He's a fifth-year guy that they just got back a couple weeks ago. So he may be the guy that they're going to try to lean on.
Now quarterback keep by Cunningham again, trying to bounce to the outside. Able to get out of bounds after a solid gain on first down. I was going to mention, John, that the rain is almost completely dissipated, and in fairness to pass, it's a tough night to handle the football and certainly throw the football.
No question about it, but you still have to question, you know, why him and his receivers, one would stop and he's throwing behind him. It just nothing clicked tonight offensively for them.
That's Jalen Smith to the far side on 2nd and 5 after gains of 19 and 5 yards by Cunningham. Cunningham just 19 years of age. He'll turn 20 on October the 6th. He had a first half in a high school game in which he totaled 247 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's often 2 weeks' work for some guys.
I can understand that looking at his speed, but you know, this with him in there, you know, I'm not going to say Lamar Jack doesn't look that way, but that's the kind of speed it looks like. Not that it's going to match him, but gives you that different look.
Well, it's a good point, and now Louisville's got another first down to the 40-yard line as Colin Wilson carries. So Cunningham has given this team a spark, trying to break a 7-7 tie with more than half of the third quarter gone. "20 minutes to midnight here in Louisville after extensive rain delays." To the outside to Seth Dawkins. Maybe the first time we have called his name on a reception tonight.
You just wonder when this Cardinal offense is going to take that opportunity to go downfield, and you can see that run pass option that this quarterback can bring to you here. If they suck somebody up on that defensive back, look for these speedsters to get by him, and they may try something deep here.
That's actually the second reception by Dawkins. He had one previous of 8 yards, this one of 5. Cunningham will look to the sidelines on 2nd and 5. Zone read, trying to bounce to the outside. Short of the first down, but now a third and manageable.
Good hustle by Moola getting to the outside there. He could have given up on that, but he didn't. He hustled and dove to get the legs of the quarterback there, and when I thought he was going to be able to escape to the outside.
And was a linebacker last year, and they brought him down to the defensive end position. Get a little more pressure and speed up front. 3rd and 3. 5 minutes to go, third quarter. Big play for the Cardinals. Indiana State stacks the line. But Smith carrying the football. Gets inside the 15. I bet Louisville's happy he came back. That's a pickup of 20.
He's a guy we didn't even have on our depth chart coming into this football game. I had to ask at halftime, who is this guy? 2 weeks ago, he wasn't a part of this team. He was here a couple years ago, left, tried to find a place. He finds his way back here tonight, and now he finds himself in the football game. And
Kurt Mallory, the head coach of Indiana State, is going to get a timeout, see if he can regroup his team. Headed up by coordinator Brad Wilson as Louisville's on the move. So this quarterback shift or change has been huge. Implemented by Bobby Petrino here in the third quarter.
Yeah, you got to give him credit for kind of a smart move, almost like Alabama-like that happened in the national championship game, making that switch at the quarterback position, and everything turned around after that.
Although if this turns out to be a successful night for Louisville, I doubt there'll be a quarterback conversation or controversy like we've seen the likes of Alabama, in which Nick Saban had to address on more than one occasion, much to his dislike.
You never know. I'll tell you, it's not like Puma Pass has played an awful lot of football for you either, so he's got to prove himself too, and what it may create is an opportunity for guys in the next game to both get a shot and then see who comes out as a leader.
Malik Cunningham with his instructions. First and 10, Louisville in the red zone, threatening to take the lead. Cunningham from the shotgun to Smith. Cuts inside, still going to the football and down to the goal line. Jeremy Smith with a push from that offensive line of Cole Bentley and Kenny Thomas and Lakeus McNeil. Now has the Cardinals at the goal line at the 2, 1st and goal.
I'll tell you something about Smith. We don't know how big he is, what size he is. He certainly looks big there.
It's big enough.
Yeah, again, we don't have his numbers, but I'll tell you what, he runs with an attitude. I do know that.
Chance to put him ahead here, and he is short. It's a gain of 1, so as you saw by the graphic, now 79 yards rushing tonight for Louisville after just 16 against that vaunted Alabama defense.
Louisville said, okay, we're going to bring another tight end. We're going to have double tight ends, and we're just going to run the football and make you stop us. And they've been able to do that. And that's the threat of the quarterback, being able to run to the outside, spread them out, and try to run your big back up through the middle.
Quarterback straight ahead, touchdown. Malik Cunningham's been a spark for Louisville. And in a game, John, where speed matters, Cunningham does make a difference.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he just followed his big back up in the middle that time. Jeremy Smith, he led the way, faked the ball to him, and then said, well, that's a nice enough hole there. I'll just follow him into the end zone, and he walks in for the touchdown.
Blatton Creaky with the extra point try. Louisville 14, Indiana State 7, gaining the lead for the second time tonight on an 11-play, 83-yard drive that ate up 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Ball fake to the middle of the big back, and he said, instead of going to the outside, I'll just follow him up through the middle. And he walks in, and as soon as they score that touchdown, he gets that opportunity to come out there. The rain starts to fall lightly again.
I'm not sure Louisville minds the weather now with a 7-point lead. That Cardinal offensive line makes a big difference now here in the third quarter, and with the speed of Cunningham to the outside, this drive consisted of 79 yards rushing the football.
And they did it with their quarterback, using his speed to the outside, running some misdirection. They brought 2 tight ends in and just hammered away with Jeremy Smith, the big back, and he was pounding his way, keeping the feet churning and just dragging tacklers for Indiana State.
John, in Cunningham's high school career, he threw for 71 touchdowns, but he also rushed for 32. Responsible for more than 100 scores. Creaky to kick off. Now Indiana State in the hole for the second time tonight. By the new rules in football, you can call for a fair catch on that play. Indiana State elects to bring it back as Dakota Caton brings it back 17 yards, and he was met by Kane Pass. That's the other pass on the team. Puma's brother plays on the defensive side and special teams edition of Louisville football.
And he's a guy that really has taken care of his brother his entire life and challenged him. And his brother Puma, his younger brother, played against him, played basketball against him, always against the older guy. So you wonder what's going through his mind right now as his brother has been taken out of this football game.
Well, tonight it's a battle of the backup quarterbacks, as Ryan Boyle in for the injured Jaleel Kilpatrick. In trouble, big trouble. Finally gets rid of it out of the tackle box. He was in danger of being roughed up near the goal line.
Ball throws incomplete under pressure from number 90, Jared Goldwater.
Well, kept the play alive here. Kind of got tripped up as he got to the outside. Made this play here. I wasn't sure this ball was able to get back to the line of scrimmage, but it did. But not easy throw for him to get it to the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10. And Keys going nowhere. And the tackle by 98, Tavarius Peterson.
We haven't said his name a whole lot tonight, but now he's the guy that has got to replace the rush end that they're missing in Greenard. So he needs to get in the backfield more often than not, and they're going to rely on him to do that now. With that big defensive end on the right side not there, he's got to be the guy.
Let's see if Louisville tries to tee off on 3rd and long. 3-by-1 receiver set for the Sycamores. Got to pick up 11. Boyle in and out of trouble. Will try to run for it. And it looks like he got it. Or awfully close to getting it. So Ryan Boyle keeps. Boyle thinks he thought he got the first down, but the spot is going to have him a yard short.
Now we'll take a look where he steps out here. Not sure exactly. That referee was standing right there and saw where that foot hit that out of bounds marker. I think they got this right.
I believe that's a reviewable play too, if necessary. But as it turns out, Burt Mallory seems to be okay with the call.
Yeah, he's looking up at the big screen too. Every time there's a play, they're looking up to see if he's in or out. See if we can see where that left foot steps out right there, and the ball's not extended, so they've got it marked at the right spot.
Penalty flag on the play before the punt. Indiana State's got to go back 5 yards now to attempt this punt off the delay of game. We've seen a couple delays tonight. Unintentional, by the way.
Yep. Louisville has 2 guys back. A little bit different look this time. They seem to have been having to punt it away from, or trying to punt it away from these returners. So now they've got 2 guys there to be able to prevent that.
Well, especially with Rajay Burns, who has the great return. This one's not going very far. It's Burns. He could do it again. Rajay Burns inside the 25-yard line. This guy's been instant offense tonight for Louisville.
Yeah, spark on the special team, but I like what they did that time. Cardinals having 2 guys back really prevents you from kicking the ball away from anyone. And with field position, that low line drive kick again, Burns is able to almost take it back. Another big play for the Cardinals on special teams.
Rajay Burns, prior to the night, did not have a punt return of any type. He has the 55-yard return, and now this one that brings Louisville just outside the red zone. That's a return of 29. It's the Cardinals starting to take control here late in the third quarter. And a good look at Rajay, who's been a big part of the offense tonight. Now time being called.
The second charge timeout at half.
Sycamores now have used another timeout, which leaves them with one for the game. Kurt Mallory's team playing Louisville to a draw in the first half. Now down by a score and in danger of being down by 2.
Yeah, they've been playing a field position game all night long in that first half. They were very conservative offensively, didn't try to throw the ball down the field. Really tried to flip the field every time, punting the ball, and they had success with doing that. Now things have changed a bit, and their field has flipped on them, and especially this situation with a special teams return and a switch to the quarterback, and you could just feel the big momentum change for the Cardinals.
And certainly one of the first questions to Bobby Petrino in the post-game conference, which will take place on Sunday officially, as midnight will be, are we going to have a change at quarterback? And in this game, it could be enough to give Louisville the win, and Bass may still be the guy to start the next week, but tonight Cunningham to the rescue. Cardinals at the Indiana State 23 at 1st and 10. On the last drive, 78 yards running the football. Almost about 95% of the activity by way of the rush. Still a lot of conversation between Mallory and the officials, including the referee, Trey Blake. Any idea, John, as to why?
No idea. I was trying to figure that out. When they called the timeout, they were really upset on that sideline. Not sure why, but guess we'll never know.
Well, just
Bobby
the idea.
Petrino not happy either. Feels like, why are they trying to slow us down? We got some momentum going in our direction. Let's play ball.
And here comes the rain again. Malik Cunningham in relief of Jawan Pass at the Sycamore 23. Little screen out of the backfield to Jeremy Smith. Makes a man miss. Gets 8, close to 9 yards on the play. So Smith played a couple of years at Louisville, decided he was going to go play somewhere else, and now has come back.
Had an injury, was going to leave, and left and back, and now he's catching balls out of the backfield, and probably the biggest star for this team tonight outside of maybe the change to the quarterback position.
2nd and 2. Cunningham back to Smith. So it's a steady diet now of Jeremy Smith and quarterback Malik Cunningham. The spot still has them short by less than a yard, so it's 3rd and 1. A half a minute to go in the third quarter.
Watch your tight end here. If you're Louisville, this is the opportunity to hit your tight end.
Instead, it's straight ahead to Smith. No, quarterback keep. And close to the end zone is Cunningham. They faked that play before. And after the fake to Smith, he's able to carry the ball to the 1-yard line of Indiana State and a pickup of 13.
Boy, he followed his the running back again closer to the line of scrimmage. Normally you see a quarterback go to the outside and read that defensive end. He read him and stayed inside.
When we start the fourth quarter, it is 1st and goal for Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals, trying to get some separation in this game with Indiana State. (14-7) our score. Jim Barber, John Gregory back at Cardinal Stadium, and welcome to day 2 of the Sycamores and the Cards as we have reached officially the midnight hour.
That's right. Been a long night.
Yeah, it has been. And a big play coming up right now for Louisville on 1st and goal from the Indiana State 1 with a chance to take a 2-touchdown lead. Full house backfield. Cunningham over center, giving it a big guy. Why not? Touchdown, Louisville. In this case, the real big guy.
That's the right tackle, Becton. Micah Becton.
Looks like,
yeah, going over the top that time.
300 play.
Yeah, 355 pounds, 6'7", running the football.
Somewhere William Perry would be proud. Played his college ball at Clemson and then with the Bears with a touchdown in the Super Bowl. So the right tackle Becton gets the touchdown. Look at this.
Yeah, he's the first guy over to the sidelines, Becton is, and why not?
Some breathing room right now for the Cardinals, up by 2 touchdowns and some smiles for a change. Well-earned Muhammad Ali boxing gloves for Mekhi Becton. Got tired of blocking for others. Now people block for him on the touchdown. And a great tribute here in Louisville, Kentucky to the champ. Louisville, Kentucky product, as all know. I don't know what got him a bigger smile, Becton, was the gloves or the touchdown. Mekhi Becton is 6'7", 355 pounds. Was eligible on the play, and did his Sam Cunningham dive over the end zone.
Yeah, and he couldn't get off the pile fast enough. You know, as an offensive lineman, you get up really slow, but when you score the touchdown, and guess who was the first one to the sideline? Yeah, he had to get over there. Let everybody see, I scored that. I scored that. Good for him.
Well, that'll take away any quarterback conversation / controversy.
Yeah, they were trying. You can see this team that's really kind of turned the corner when you bring in Cunningham. It just gave him a spark.
Indiana State starts with a run on 1st down by Keys, but now has to be well aware of the clock, being down 2 scores as we start the 4th quarter. Impressive rushing attack tonight for Indiana State with 156 yards on the ground, but now Louisville's up to 153. Keys trying to carry for the 1st down, and the spot's going to have him short. Well, do you expect Indiana State to deviate from this attack, being down 14?
I don't think so. I think you have to stay with the success that you've had. Kilpatrick, the quarterback, is back in the football game again, so he's been able to move him a bit, but I think you turn around and hand it to Keys here, or you give your ability for Kilpatrick to try to get to the outside.
Once again, 3rd and 1. Cardinals with 8 in the box defensively. And depending on the spot, Louisville may have come up with yet another stop. 53, Amonte Caban was on the pile. Gigi Robinson was up there. 94. They're going to go for it on 4th and 1. Why not? Trailing by 2 scores, and they get the 1st down and then some, with the carry past the 35-yard line by Kilpatrick. And that's a good move, because this is 4-down territory if you have any hope of winning a football game.
Well, I think that's a great move. You get them to the line in a hurry. Louisville was not ready at all, and they easily get the quarterback, and they move the chains.
Keys on 1st down, running off tackle for 3.
There's got to be a point sometime if you're Indiana State where you have to try to back this Louisville defense off. As we mentioned before, they've had all 11 guys within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. We haven't seen Kilpatrick throw the ball down the field. We saw it come from Boyle, but can Kilpatrick kind of threaten him with a deep pass?
By the way, Jaquan Keys now over 100 yards. Kilpatrick in trouble. Ball was recovered by Indiana State, as it was a fumble. Back to the 28-yard line, a huge loss.
You can see Kilpatrick still kind of working that right arm. Moving the pocket again, nowhere to go with the football. Got away with a face mask there. It looked like he had a hand on the mask. Fortunately, they didn't call it for Louisville.
Now it's 3rd and 17. As the momentum in this game has switched dramatically to the side of Louisville. Kilpatrick trying to come up big. In trouble. Brought down around the 30. And Indiana State's got to give up the ball.
I think Kilpatrick, he's more concerned about the rush right now. He's got some receivers down the field, but I think he feels the pressure and he takes his eyes off the receivers and looks for some running. He's not a guy that looks to pass first. It almost looks like he looks to kind of run the football. Now they got to punt it away.
So Des Fitzpatrick is back with Rajay Burns at the Louisville 40. This one's not going very far. We'll take an Indiana State bounce, favorable inside the 45. But good field position for the Cardinals on a punt of just 26. 11:17 remains. Louisville in command right now, 21-7. Malik Rozier, a couple of touchdowns at Miami, 77-0 win. Florida State in danger of going 0-2, trailing in Tallahassee by 2 and 8 to go. This was a 7-6 game, John, between Penn State and Pitt. Late first half, and then the Nittany Lions just blew out Pitt. The rest of the ACC, I think one of the bigger surprises might have been Duke's win over Northwestern after trailing early. And Terrence Horn had a huge day for South Florida. 2 kickoff returns in the first quarter, both for touchdowns. Now Cunningham eluding pressure and a completed pass inside the 45-yard line. And on that play, able to find 86 Devontae Pete on a catch of 15 for a first down.
Long developing play for him to get to the outside. Pete came all the way across the field this time, and a nice throw to lead him. He takes a nice hit after that, but
yeah, roughing the passer too, by the way, because of that.
Yeah.
So that's an additional 15. So now move the football to the Indiana State 28, and the Sycamores have lost their position in this game. Once a 7-7 tie. Now it's 21-7, and Louisville trying to deliver a knockout punch.
Yeah, lost field position, now losing composure a bit to hit him late like that.
Cunningham rolling out, getting a block at the 40, and firing incomplete. That one intended for Des Fitzpatrick, but Malik Cunningham has been huge for Louisville. Bobby Petrino replaced Jawan Pass in the third quarter, and Cunningham has led a couple of scoring drives and led this team to a 21-7 advantage. Cunningham has rushed the football 6 times for 44 yards and a score. 2nd and 10. Zone read, straight ahead, loss on the play of a couple of yards. But right now Louisville is in command, and even a field goal won't kill their chances. In fact, it could just add to this 14-point advantage.
Yeah, what they'd like to see now is just the clock continue to move. 10:37 left to go in the football game, but you know, they just got a 21-7 lead. Not much of a lead when considering what it could be against this Indiana State team. So they're happy right now, I think, with this type of night, is just let that clock run.
On 3rd and 12, Cunningham avoids pressure, and now will wisely keep. Well, we saw some of the chippiness on the part of Louisville on the sidelines in the first half here. Frustrated football team with itself, with one of the coaches, and then when Cunningham was inserted in the third quarter, things really settled down nicely.
Yeah, no question about that. You could see it, frustration after special teams plays and on defense, and guys looking at each other and pointing fingers, and it's amazing what one or two touchdowns will do to a football team. It's really kind of changed the whole momentum in this game.
Blanton Creaky from 38. He was 17 for 20 last year. First field goal attempt of 2018 is a good one. Now the Cards by 17 with under 10 to go. Welcome back. You're on the Louisville sidelines with head coach Bobby Petrino. His team can breathe a little easier now, breaking a 7-7 tie in the second half and now leading by 17. Moments ago, 38-yard field goal by Blanton Creaky for the Cards. Big upset brewing in Tallahassee. Sanford ranked 9th football championship series, leading Florida State 26-21 with 7 to go. That one unhopped at the 5. Faking the end around, and Sycamores won't even get to the 20.
Number 80, 40-long return. Back number 98, Tiberius Peterson.
98, Tiberius Peterson. We've mentioned him a couple times tonight, John.
Yeah.
Up to make a special team stop.
Doing a good job stepping up tonight when he's needed to do it. And a lot of guys are going to have to do this in this Cardinals defense. Next week, Louisville gets Western Kentucky. Give them another chance to kind of get their feet underneath them, find out, maybe get a chance to play 2 quarterbacks again possibly, and see who's the guy that's standing out. They may have found that running back tonight that they were looking for, that identity, so to speak, what they were looking for in Jeremy Smith.
You've heard the phrase before, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really have no quarterbacks. Do you buy that if you've got 2 guys that you can't determine who should be a starter on a team?
Well, the simple question is if they're both no good, you're right. But if both of them are really good, just like Alabama, then it's really not a problem. So really depends on your own situation. But having 2 quarterbacks that can both play for you certainly is not a bad thing.
That one broken up at the line of scrimmage. Marlon Character appeared to get his hand on it, or at least apply pressure. Now it's 3rd and 10.
I'll go back to that question. I think having one guy that's your starter that you know and the team knows and trusts when you get off the bus that he's going to be the right guy, I think that's important. But having that other guy that can play it and put pressure on that guy is not a bad thing.
Kilpatrick setting up a screen to Keys. And once again, Indiana State must punt. We've talked about the addition of Malik Cunningham to Louisville's offense, but how about the Cardinals pitching a shutout here in the second half on defense?
Yeah, doing a good job. They're really hustling to the football, and those conditions were so bad in the first half, and you start and you stop. You're in the locker room, you're not, and then defense has to be ready. And they're so hyped up before a football game, more so than an offense, and you get the starts and stops, I think it affects them more than anything. And now they've had the opportunity to get in the flow of the game defensively, and that's made a huge difference.
This punt coming from the 10-yard line, a little better than the last one, as it rolls into Cardinals territory. 8:42 remains. Louisville 24, Indiana State 7. Back to business. Remember this guy, Lamar Jackson, the Heisman Trophy winner. Now with the Baltimore Ravens. Won just about every award possible as a sophomore, including the Heisman. Became the youngest player in the country to win the Heisman. Former Louisville quarterback, and a great one at that. Malik Cunningham now running the offense for the Cardinals. Takes a negative play and makes a positive one out of it, in relief of Jawan Puma Pass, replacing him in the 3rd quarter. Passes 7 drives, total a little more than 20 yards per drive, actually less than 20. But Cunningham, in just 3 drives, netting more yardage and 17 points, has been the game changer.
Kind of looked like Lamar Jackson on that last play.
He did, yeah. Now in trouble, makes one man miss, gets a little blocking on the outside, and rushes for a first down. I think Louisville, or rather Indiana State, thought there was a clip on the play.
Boy, he can keep a play alive, can he?
He sure can. Let's see if there was a block in the back or a clip. See anything, John?
I did. Yeah, I could see where they were saying that just before he got to the outside, the last white jersey there looked like he was blocked in the back.
Now Cunningham throwing on first down to the outside. Tutu Atwell with a catch. Down to the 34 and a pickup at 10, and right now Cunningham and his offense feeling pretty good about itself.
Yeah, and Cunningham has to feel good about himself, I think. Be really confident looking right now. First appearance, coming out here really taking control of the offense on a night like this, so he came in right from the first play and has made a difference.
Now to the near side, this could go for 6. It will. Jalen Smith, touchdown. 34 yards.
Well, just a matter of time before Jalen Smith will get in the end zone, his first touchdown of the year. Had emergency appendectomy back on August 1st and kind of shied away a little bit of contact maybe in that Alabama game. Some questions about that. Looked pretty good there as you see him coming off with the boxing gloves as he just turned on the speed.
He has averaged 17 yards a catch in his career, not just a season, but in his career. Lost 10 pounds as a result of that emergency surgery. And now the extra point being attempted.
Fans are booing here. Jalen Smith went over and high-fived some fans after the play in the end zone. Just casually high-fived him and threw the flag on him.
Doesn't matter. Extra point is good. 31st point of the night. So the downfield threat of Jalen Smith finally felt in this game. His last 8 games have been pretty strong. Over 40 catches, 650 yards, and 6 touchdown receptions. Fitzpatrick
wants to go at it. I think Jalen Smith just wants to bench. I want to sit down and rest.
I think he's tired. So once a 7-7 game, and now one-sided in favor of Louisville, which was favored to win big tonight. They got off to a difficult start, affected by the weather and some early mistakes. And then a quarterback change ignites this team, and right now sitting pretty to win its first game of the year and the home opener, which, by the way, is going on 5.5 hours tonight.
You know, when you think about it, this is one of those days that, or one of those games that coaches will look at that first half, kind of glance at it maybe, and just kind of put it to the side, because
not a bad idea.
You know, the weather, the starting, the stopping, they're going to find some things in there, of course, but you want to throw that one out.
By the way, the celebration moments ago on the touchdown resulted in that penalty that forced the kickoff to come from the 20-yard line of Louisville instead of the 35. A little special team celebration down there. Mr. O'Hara part of it. That's the kicker,
the
Evan.
Kicker in on a tackle.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's some life on the side, and that's what you want to see. That's kind of your team game right there. Everybody involved late in the game, even when you take the lead, that emotion that you want.
So third quarterback now in the game for Indiana State, as they've gone to Curtis Wilderman. Curtis spells his first name K-U-R-T-I-S. Getting a chance to play. Jalil Kilpatrick started. Ryan Boyle in relief. And now Curtis Wilderman. Be a long trip back for Indiana State, but a healthy paycheck. And I think some respect from a major FBS power, particularly after playing Cardinals to a standstill into the third quarter.
Yeah, they took advantage of the conditions, no question about that. But this was a team that came out here fighting, and they really thought they had an opportunity at the end of that first half.
When you think about it, Indiana State was tied to start the third quarter and had the ball on the kickoff. Weren't able to do much with it. Then Malik Cunningham inserted as a backup quarterback into the Louisville attack, and the game changed on that. By the way, in Tallahassee, Florida State has gone ahead with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, holding on to a 3-point lead against Sanford with 3 to go.
Number 7, Christmas Patrick. Number 10, Rajay Burns, back for the Dogs.
Rajay Burns, who way back when, around 7 o'clock tonight, last night actually, Eastern time, had the 55-yard return off a punt for a touchdown. He calls for a fair catch there at the 19. Take that, Fitzpatrick with the catch of a punt of 34. John mentioned earlier that Western Kentucky's on the docket next for Louisville. That game will be here at Cardinal Stadium. Hopefully the weather will be better. Then on to Virginia, which lost a tough one to Indiana tonight. Then Florida State, Georgia Tech. And how about BC off to a 2-0 start tonight?
Yep.
A little over 5 minutes to go in the game. Cunningham still pitching to his receivers on the outside. Well, you're Bobby Petrino. You will be asked about the quarterback situation. You get to be head coach for a moment. What do you do in week 3 for the Cardinals at quarterback?
Well, I have a good week of practice. I see who's stepping up. I want to see if Pass is healthy. He looks like, to me, he's been kind of limping around the sidelines. I think physically he's okay. Maybe more mentally hurt than anything, and emotionally, I'd say, in this situation. But, I think I have to give an opportunity for Cunningham the way he's shown in this game. I mean, it's a completely different offense with him in there.
We go with that run-pass option with Cunningham, and he is very elusive. Makes a lot of people miss out there. And when he's down at the goal line with big Jeremy Smith, or Becton for that matter, he can put that ball in their belly and take it back out, and he skirts right through for a score.
You really don't know what's going on behind the scenes and how practice went all this week after the Alabama loss, and how Pass is going to react to all of this as well. So it's going to be a lot more interesting, though, to see who it is next week. But I certainly think Pass is going to be the guy. But Cunningham now, I think, has earned his opportunity to play.
Back to Tallahassee for likely what is our last update. Interception, pick 6 for touchdown, and now the Noles are breathing a little easier, and maybe Willie Taggart can sleep tonight as they are up 10 now, 36-26 with 2 and change remaining in the game.
Cardinals taking their time right now. Just letting that play clock go down, trying to chew it up. 3:09 to go in this ball game. They just want to get out of here as healthy as they can the rest of the way. Been banged up a little bit more tonight after that Alabama game last week.
Huge carry on first down. That's Colin Wilson, redshirt freshman. By the way, on Labor Day weekend next year, Notre Dame comes here against Louisville.
See, pretty good size, 225 pounds for Wilson as he gets to the outside there. Have they found that identity at the running back position? I don't know. I think it still will take some time, but Jeremy Smith seemed to be the go-to guy tonight once they settled in on that one guy.
26 for Wilson on the play. And now Cunningham sacked, loses the football. Indiana State will take it back. We got an injured player for Louisville back in midfield.
And that's Cunningham, the quarterback.
This one returned by the defensive lineman, Kate Perrott.
Looking at his shoes, he didn't come out there with that spat on that right ankle. You wonder if he already twisted a little bit and that it hurt him a little bit more after that play there. You can see the dark shoes that he wears. That right shoe has been taped up, so maybe he was banged up earlier and just caused a little bit more pain. Yep, and it got caught up underneath him again. I think on the initial hit it did, and then when he landed.
It was hit initially by Matt Thompson, 43, the outside linebacker. Right now they're checking to see if that was in fact a fumble that was returned by Indiana State deep into Louisville territory.
Yeah, I think this one's going to come back. It looks like that knee was down before the ball was dislodged from the hand, so coming back here. But you could see the look on Bobby Petrino's face as he went out there to see Cunningham and meet him halfway, and he had that look of, oh, what else could go wrong?
Juwan Pass gave him a pad on the helmet. Looks like Malik can put some pressure on it anyway. But he still needs some assistance. Yeah, I mean, this has been a long journey into tonight with a whole lot of different things happening that probably weren't used to. And Louisville now has to go to a third quarterback as well tonight, and Jordan Travis. This looks like an NFL exhibition game where you're playing a lot of quarterbacks on both sides. So Travis gets a chance, and on first down, going to shoot one down in man coverage. That broken up at the 10-yard line, and Marcus Riley's thought he was going to get the flag on the play for pass interference. Didn't happen.
Wow, he didn't even get time to warm up in the bullpen. He just came out.
Yeah, came out firing.
Threw it deep right away. That's asking a lot off the guy. Come on.
Well, what few fans are left, they voice their displeasure on the lack of call. .151 remains. Travis still dancing around. And finally brought down out of bounds.
Number 6, Travis Keats. Also announced number 35, Davion.
Still pushing and shoving. It's been chippy all night long.
Well, it's been a long night, that's for sure. Right now, Lucaeus McNeil, graduate student out of Indianapolis, got a pat on the butt by the official. So what's Bobby saying right now to his backup to the backup?
I don't know. Stay in bounds?
Sure. Let's get this over with. Mason King, yet another punt. You know, it's been just 2 games, and it does include Alabama, but Mason King right now is on point to punt 100 times. Now we got a penalty flag for more contact down to 25. We just kind of hope this thing ends quickly before.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Bench is clear.
Want the time to go off. No other injuries. And
well, in some ways, these two teams have played 2 games tonight because we are over 5.5 hours.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the receiving team, number 60. That's his first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. It'll be 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's going to be against Indiana State.
That penalty is on the kicking team. It'll be 15-yard penalty, first down.
Check that. That's on Louisville and 60 Tyler Haycraft.
They're figuring it out there. It's been a long night for these officials, too.
Sure. Both teams have used 3 quarterbacks this evening. Sycamores content to run out the clock.
Well, I think if you're Indiana State, you can take some positives from this thing. They were able to run the football early in this game, doing some things out there I think that they can watch on film and build on. Again, a team that's trying to change their entire way they're doing things. Coach Mallory in there has really changed the culture in just year 2. Getting that first victory. They're recruiting the state of Indiana, a lot more focusing on those high schools in that area. The heart and soul of this team has always been good. This team's always been good when that heart and soul of the teams come from Indiana, and he knows that. His dad knew it, and that's the way their team's going to work. That's how they're going to get better.
40 of the players on this team are from the state of Indiana, trying to branch out to parts of the Midwest like Michigan to make a difference. Likely the last play of the game. Indiana State victory last week, and then tonight with 172 yards rushing, played to a 7-7 third quarter tie before Louisville took over and goes on to win convincingly. That's Kurt Mallory. You'll find Bobby Petrino, who exchanged smiles prior to the game. They'll shake hands, and that will do it. Our thanks to our ESPN crew, putting on a long day and a long evening.
Yeah, certainly did.
Time played, 3 hours. Time delayed, 2.5. Call it a standstill. For John Gregory, Jim Barber, that's it from Louisville, Kentucky. Final score, the Cards 31, the Sycamores 7. Thanks for joining us. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This is a presentation of ESPN.